Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in on this Wednesday, hump day. Glad to have you join me. President Donald Trump's rallying speech to House Republicans yesterday morning, and I told you he'd be visiting with them, evidently wasn't enough to convince some holdouts to unite behind his, quote, big, beautiful bill ahead of a planned vote sometime this week. We have the latest on what's happening on Capitol Hill. Big win in the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday by a member of the Maine House of Representatives. We have the latest on Representative Laurel Libby's fight to keep males out of female sports. President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced the U.S. will soon begin construction of a Golden Dome missile defense system they say will be a next-generation game-changer protecting the American homeland from outside adversaries. And Jason Crabb, the award-winning Christian singer, will be performing at the Walhalla Performing Arts Center this Friday, May 26th. Jason joins me in today's show.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
President Trump showed up to give House Republicans a little pep talk, I guess you could say. A rally cry, encouragement. One of his big, beautiful speeches, as he called it. This meeting, of course, behind closed doors. And we're told he laid out the plan. It's very plain. Cut the infighting. Stop dragging your feet. Pass my bill. According to those present, by all accounts, he delivered, rallied the room, spoke with fire, gave one of the best speeches Representative Ralph Norman said he'd ever heard. And yet, maybe it wasn't enough. Appears, according to inside folks, we're still stuck, still fractured, still fighting ourselves. Now, you'd think that when President Trump shows up to your morning meeting and asks you very politely to stop messing around, you'd listen, right? Not all of them. And look, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Just like I knew that when Representative Ralph Norman did not vote in favor of it last Friday, he had a reason. He explained that to us on Monday's show. Now, you've got the New York Republicans, though, holding out for a different reason. Representative Norman explained he believes it's time for illegals to come off of Medicaid. He believes it's time for able-bodied adults to stop receiving benefits without working. All common sense things. Evidently, though, the New York Republicans have other reasons. The ones that question, Representative Lawyer, LaLota, Garbarino, they're holding the line on SALT. That's the state and local tax deduction for those who don't follow the line of alphabet soup, the acronyms. And there are a lot of them in government. They say that it's killing their constituents in New York. Places like Westchester County or Long Island, you got very expensive real estate there. And, hey, they may have a point. They're trying to protect their constituents. Representative Lawyer said it straight. With all due respect to the president, I'm not budging, he said. He's sticking to what he campaigned on. He won a Biden district. Kamala carried it, and he still managed to flip it. So, yeah, I get it. He's going to try to protect his people. And SALT is the hill, I guess, he's willing to die on. And I get it, too. I mean, they want relief for the middle class in their districts. Middle class sometimes means families making $300,000 a year but getting crushed on local taxes. That's kind of hard to fathom if you live in the South like I do. But here's the flip side. The rest of the country, and that says, why should we subsidize blue state tax insanity? And I understand that, of course, having as I live in the South. It's a tug of war. Meanwhile, the conservatives in the Freedom Caucus, the guys from the very red states, are screaming from the rooftops that the bill doesn't do nearly enough on Medicaid. And that's Representative Ralph Norman's complaint. Trump even warned Republicans, according to insiders, not to, and I'm quoting here, not to F with Medicaid. That was his message. But what did it mean? Nobody seems quite sure. Did he mean don't touch it, or did he mean clean it up but don't kill it? I suspect he means clean it up but don't kill it. Because, again, I can't imagine a world where Donald Trump believes it's okay for illegals to be benefiting from Medicaid. Can you? I can't believe that Trump for a minute would believe it's okay for someone who's able to work but just too lazy to work, but yet they get Medicaid. Now, you've got guys like Andy Harris, Thomas Massey, Eric Burleson. They're saying, wait a second, this bill does nothing to cut out the waste, does nothing to cut out the fraud, the freeloaders. This is just more the same. They have a point as well. Massey was blunt, said his people didn't vote for Biden-level deficit, said younger Republicans and the ones angling for cabinet positions might fall in line, but he's not going to, he said. So here we are. SALT on one side, Medicaid on the other, Trump trying to hold the middle, and the leadership in the House trying to thread the needle between two Republican parties that are just not speaking the same language right now. And that's the political process, folks. That's how it works. You got individuals going to Washington from their districts trying to represent their district, and they're all different. So let me put it this way. One side wants tax relief for people in expensive suburbs, like in New York, that Long Island area. The other side wants to torch every bloated government entitlement program with a flamethrower. Get it out. Cut it out. And President Trump, he's trying to play peacemaker. He's trying to remind everyone who the real opponent is. The left. Joe Biden, Chuck E. Schumer, the bureaucracy, the open borders crowd, the inflation deniers. Somehow, though, we're still in a tug of war. So how do we get out of this? Where's the middle ground? I'll be honest. It reminds me, and for those of you old enough to remember, the healthcare fight back in 2017. You had President Trump in the Oval Office. Republicans had the House. We had the Senate. And we still blew it. Too many people trying to be purists. Too many others playing defense for their districts, and not enough focus on the big win, on the overall country. And I'm not saying we should sell out all of our principles. But we got to get smart, don't we? Because if we're not careful, we're going to blow 2026 if we can't govern when we've got the majority. I'm looking at the New York Republicans and I'm saying, hey, I understand your pain, but don't forget the rest of America is not going to weep for folks making $400,000 a year who can't deduct their property taxes. And I'm looking at the conservatives saying cut Medicaid, and I'm saying, okay, yeah, fix it, reform it, but don't forget they're working class Trump voters who depend on that system, especially in some of the poorest areas of America. But I agree with Representative Ralph Norman. Illegals shouldn't be part of that group. Illegals shouldn't be benefiting from our Medicaid. Evidently, from what I'm hearing, Trump tried to tell them that, tried to split the difference, but without specifics. Again, it was just a pep rally. It was the president dropping in and saying, hey, guys, I need your help here. We got to win. Even Representative Garbarino said, no specifics, just energy, just slogans, and that's not going to move the needle on this bill. Look, House leadership is going to have to get in there, dig in, and they're the ones who are going to be able to move the needle, so to speak. The conservatives say Medicaid reforms are too slow. Work requirements don't kick in until 2029. That's crazy. I agree with them. If If there should be work requirements for Medicaid, it should start right now. We don't need to wait. What would that be? 4 years. 4 elections away. They want states to carry more cost burden. They want a fraud cut now, not later. And I agree. The moderates, they're saying, hey, if we don't deliver something on salt, we're going to lose suburban seats. They think this bill as written could cost Republicans the House. Will it? I don't know. We can't afford to let that happen, though. It's the classic split. Red state conservatives versus blue state Republicans. And President Trump's trying to glue them together with charisma and loyalty. Sometimes those types of speeches just don't fix the math. Votes fix the math. And right now, according to some of the reports, the votes aren't there. So they got to keep working. Got to keep talking. Got to keep hashing this out. Either leadership rewrites the bill, which means someone has to give up something, or they jam it through and hope the rebels cave. But who are the rebels? I mean, we got different factions within the U.S. House. If Republicans blow this moment, like they did with Obamacare in the first Trump term, if they can't pass a signature tax and spending bill with President Trump at their side, will they ever be able to get anything like this done? Are they capable of improvement? We'll see. Are you ready for this? I dropped over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan. No Ozempic, no shots, no meds. Look, I refuse to rely on prescriptions for life, and you probably feel the same. Joey Hudson here. Here's what Big Pharma won't tell you. Your body already makes GLP-1. That's the hormone that fights hunger. PhD helps your body produce it naturally, faster, and without side effects. With PhD, there's no muscle loss, no rebound weight gain, and no cravings. Just real, lasting weight loss the natural way. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. It takes 5 minutes and shows what's really happening inside your body. You'll walk out knowing how to flip your fat-burning switch. No shots needed. Don't trade your health for a quick fix. You can do this without Big Pharma and without the drugs. Plus 15% off when you fully commit to your program and the PhD Get Results Guarantee. Call now 864-644-1900. Start today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. All right, folks, big story out of the Supreme Court this week. If you haven't heard about it yet, the Supreme Court just handed down a 7-2 decision in favor of Maine State Representative Laurel Libby. Have you been following this story? If you're wondering who she is, Libby is a Republican lawmaker who got censured by her own state legislature, not for breaking any laws, not for lying, not for corruption or campaign finance or anything like that. No. She got censured for a social media post that identified a transgender high school athlete, a biological male who had won a girls' pole vault competition in her state of Maine. That's what she did. Called him out. Let me say it again. She posted a truthful information about a biological male competing in girls' sports, a story that was already out in the media, and the Democrats in her state legislature decided that was enough to silence her. That's where we are now, folks. You tell the truth, and they try to shut you up. Now, the court didn't just side with Libby. They made it crystal clear. Their words, Libby's entitlement to relief is indisputably clear, they said. It's not soft language. It's not a maybe. That's a body slam to the people trying to muzzle an elected official for saying something they don't like. And look, I know the left's defense here. I can hear it already. She posted about a minor. She risked the student's safety. This wasn't a private citizen being dragged out of nowhere. The athlete was already covered by the press. The press, the mainstream media was celebrating this young man for beating a bunch of girls in pole vaulting. Everybody knew who he was. Representative Libby didn't leak anything. She shared what was out there and raised a legitimate concern. something that the nation has been debating. I mean, just this past week, we saw another instance of this insanity, where in California, a young man competing in women's sports because California allows him to, broke a state record and beat a young lady who had been competing her entire life. Now, this was in the long jump. Now, she broke her personal best record, and she broke the state record for legitimate females. He beat her, so now he's going to get a state title and a state record. She's being applauded because at the award ceremony, she briefly stepped up to the number one spot where she should have been because she really won and got applause. And it's gone viral on social media because she was standing there where she should have been. Are we going to let girls get pushed out of their own sports by boys identifying as girls? That's what some of the left wants to do, but that's not what Representative Libby is going to stand by and let happen in Maine if she can. I mean, it's a fair question, a necessary question. And what did she get for asking this question, Representative Libby? She got censured. She got silenced. They pulled her from debate, stripped her vote. I mean, the people of her district elected her to represent them in the Maine State House of Representatives. That bunch of woke Democrats took her vote away, took the people in her district's voice away, and said, hey, all you have to do to get your vote back, to get your voice back, is to apologize. You apologize, you can come back. She didn't. And thank God she didn't, because if she had bent the knee, we wouldn't be here talking about a 7-2 decision defending the First Amendment by the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, here's where this really matters. The state tried to spin it like it wasn't about her views, just her conduct. They said, we just want her to apologize. Just say that you're sorry and all be forgiven. But think about that. They're saying you're free to believe whatever you want as long as you don't say it out loud, and particularly in the Maine legislature. That's not democracy. That's not freedom. That's not America. And let's talk about the dissent for a second. Because of course, Justices Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson voted against Libby. Jackson went on this whole thing about the so-called shadow docket, complaining about emergency ruling, saying it lowers the bar. Well, you know what? Sometimes the bar should be low when you're dealing with a basic constitutional right, like a state trying to silence one of their elected officials. I mean, what part of freedom of speech are these justices not understanding? Laurel Libby took her fight from Maine all the way to the Supreme Court. She got rejected in the lower courts, including a Biden-appointed judge from Rhode Island, because all the Maine judges tapped out. She didn't quit, though. She took her case all the way. And now the highest court in the land just told the country, you don't get to shut someone up just because you don't like what they said. And that's a basic premise for the left, of course, when it's the left speaking. They don't want conservatives to have that freedom of speech. And let me tell you something. This wasn't just a win for Laurel Libby. This is a win for every single American who's tired of being told to sit down and shut up. We're just not going to do this anymore. It's a win for the parents in school board meetings getting labeled as domestic terrorists for asking questions about their kids' education. It's a win for female athletes who are watching their scholarships, their records, their spaces vanish under this radical gender agenda where boys are allowed to compete with girls. And it's a win for anyone, right, left, center, who still believes that speaking the truth shouldn't come with a price tag. Laurel Libby didn't back down. She didn't issue the apology that she was told to issue. She didn't grovel. She stood her ground, and in doing so, she reminded the rest of us that you can fight back and you can win. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace is in the headlines again. Yesterday, she publicly showed a nude silhouette photo of herself and censored images of other women taken without their knowledge that she said she found on her ex-fiance's phone. In her continued push for tougher voyeurism laws, Representative Mace yesterday showed the photos that she says were secretly kept for years by her former fiancé. Most of the photos she presented had circles covering the victims' bodies, and none revealed their identities. The photos were shared during a hearing by the Committee on Oversight and Governmental Reform titled Breach of Trust, Surveillance in Private Spaces, which Representative Mace chairs to push for two proposals that she sponsored, the Sue Voyeurs Act and the Stop Voyeurs Act. In her opening statement, Representative Mace said that liberty begins with the right to close a door, and a hidden camera kicks the door off its hinges. Here's Representative Nancy Mace.
Liberty begins with the right to close a door. A hidden camera kicks that door off its hinges. The Constitution's Fourth Amendment enshrines a reasonable expectation of privacy. Yet today, that freedom is violated by secret cameras and hidden devices to record women and girls with impunity. Freedom is not a theory. It is the right to breathe. It is the right to dress and undress, to sleep without someone's camera filming your naked body. The founders wrote liberty in parchment, but hidden cameras erase it in pixels. I speak not just as a lawmaker, but as a survivor. Starting on November 5th, 2023, I discovered my former fiancé, Patrick Bryant, had filmed women without their knowledge, without their permission, and without their consent. He filmed rape, too. He appeared to catalog his tapes and footage and images and photos in the way that he saved the files. And he stored these images, photos, and videos for years. This isn't just creepy, it's criminal, but only under weak state laws. In South Carolina, first-time voyeurs face a misdemeanor and a small $500 fine. That's not justice, that is betrayal. Real men guard a woman's privacy, but predators harvest it. When predators install covert cameras or forge explicit images, they do not just invade a room, they invade a life. And that life deserves more than a misdemeanor.
Now, this whole bizarre case started back on the House floor in February when Ms. Mace accused 4 men of voyeurism and rape, while also accusing South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson of not prosecuting the case. The Attorney General's office said no case had been referred to it and only learned about the accusations through Representative Mace's floor speech. Both Ms. Mace and Attorney General Alan Wilson are said to be considering runs for governor and are considered 2 of the top potential Republican hopefuls. Now, during yesterday's hearing, Ms. Mace said that one of the 4 men, her ex-fiancé Patrick Bryant, had groups of photos, including women's buttocks, photos of nude women in compromised positions, and unsuspected upskirt images. She said her evidence includes more than 10,000 videos that she's discovered after being given access to Mr. Bryant's mobile phone. Bryant is currently under investigation by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, according to reports like the state newspaper. Joseph LaSorsa, founder and president of LaSorsa & Associates, a security consultancy firm that specializes in corporate counter-espionage, he testified that affordable, commercially available technology has made it easy for people to record others without their knowledge. Now, at one point during the hearing yesterday, Representative Mace had some large photos behind her on an easel, in which at one time she referred to one, and you could see the silhouette of a naked woman walking into a room, and she said that that was one of the many that Mr. Bryant had of her. Here's Representative Mace again.
Exhibit 1, behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of myself. The yellow circle, this naked silhouette, is my naked body. I didn't know that I had been filmed. I didn't give my consent. I didn't give my permission. And this particular video that Patrick Bryant recorded of me on his secret camera he saved for over 3 years without my knowledge. I didn't pick this fight. I don't even want to be here today and discuss this. But because he's still roaming around South Carolina free, filming whatever genital parts he wants because no one has held him accountable, he's not in jail, he's not had to pay a fine, no restitution. He's able to rape other women, film them. And when I discovered this video, I discovered that he utilized up to 4 potential devices, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were more. I was filmed in secret. The camera sat silent, yet it screamed my safety was negotiable and my dignity disposable.
Wow. What do you make of this? Is Nancy Mace serious about protecting other victims? Or is this, as some in the political world is saying, it's just another instance of her grandstanding, of her trying to get into headlines to build her profile to run for governor of South Carolina? Now, I would say it's a hard way to to get your profile elevated to run for governor. I would think that there'd be other ways to do so. This is a bizarre case, and it gets more bizarre every time Nancy Mace is involved in one of these hearings. Now, back to this expert, Mr. LaSorsa. He said, as someone who routinely performs technical surveillance countermeasures, inspections or bug sweeps of offices, residences, and short-term rentals, I can confirm that these hidden cameras can be disguised as smoke detectors, alarm clocks, power adapters, or everyday common devices found in places where individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, after Nancy Mace's February remarks on the House floor, she said that Mr. Bryant threatened a defamation suit against his victims, including her. Her response? She said, "Bring it on, brother, because there's no defamation in the truth. And if you're going to be the kind of moron and monster that uses his own victims, may God help you." We'll see. In South Carolina, first-time voyeurs face a misdemeanor and a small $500 fine. She says that's not justice, that's betrayal. She went on to say that real men guard a woman's privacy, predators harvest it. At least 2 potential victims, she said, had told her that they once saw one of his cameras and that he denied he was recording. She said, "We face an enemy that records first and apologizes never." She said that when she spoke up that Mr. Bryant did not apologize, he just retaliated. In fact, Patrick Bryant has started the process of suing his victims, myself included, she said. Predators like Patrick Bryant, she said, don't ask permission, and neither should justice. A hidden camera does not erase liberty and doesn't deserve a slap on the wrist. She said that justice also does not crawl out of a plea deal. It arrives in a sentence that fits the crime and restores the victim. Ms. May said that justice should come in the form of real sentences, real fines, and real protection for victims, and that's what she is trying to accomplish. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, you know, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. Jason Crabb has won 2 Grammy Awards along with 22 GMA Dove Awards. He was named the Gospel Music Association Dove Award Artist and Male Vocalist of the Year, and he's won the Song of the Year Award as well. In fact, Jason has won so many music industry honors and awards, it's impossible for us to name them all in this short time we have today. The most important thing, though, is his music. His many hits that have inspired so many people over the years. It's an honor to have Jason Crabb join me today. Welcome. How are you, sir?
Oh, my goodness. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for such kind words. You know, God is an amazing God, isn't he? He is so faithful.
That is for sure. Let's just start, Jason, with you telling our listeners a little about your personal journey. When I first saw you, you were performing with your family. It was the Brooklyn Tabernacle in New York, and my wife and I just happened to stumble into the church that day, and you guys were singing with the choir there. And I've been a fan ever since. When did you discover your musical talents?
Well, my dad was a pastor, and he pastored many years. I grew up a PK, and whatever was missing in the church, if you needed, there was a guitar player that didn't show up, or a drummer that didn't show up, or, you needed to play keys. You just hoped that the keyboard would transpose into C, because that's all I knew how to play in. But, it's just kind of one of those things. You jumped in and you did what needed to be done, and that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
And, I didn't really stumble into the singing part until, I just really started listening to some vocalists and people that I really admired and loved, and kind of went that route. And God blessed those things. And, it just went good. And to have like people like Russ Taff, Michael English, great people, and that were phenomenal role models.
Sure. Yeah. You have performed at some of the world's most famous venues, been on a lot of famous stages, Carnegie Hall, the Grand Ole Opry. You were part of Billy Graham's final crusade in New York City. Of course, this week you'll be performing at the Walhalla Performing Arts Center in upstate South Carolina. Is there a particular?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Is there a particular venue, Jason, that is your favorite?
You know what? I really find something important in each place. I think another opportunity to go and stand on a stage and proclaim the gospel and sing and do what I do is so important. Now, there are stages vocally that I love to stand on. The Ryman Auditorium is the greatest music venue I've ever played. And it just sounds the best. It feels the best. I just don't know. It was a church. That's how it started. And you can just kind of still feel that. You feel at home when you get there and you play. You start singing some of those good gospel songs, and the next thing you know, boy, it really starts feeling right.
Yeah. Wow.
But, there's area, South Carolina has been so good to me. I absolutely love South Carolina. And I'm looking forward to being there.
Well, we are looking forward to having you. Yeah, you have performed at a lot of upstate churches over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You've also performed with a lot of other well-known artists, Vince Gill, Winona, Brad Paisley, Blake Shelton, many others. What's it like to share the stage with some of these other well-known performers?
You know what, man, I'm going to be honest with you. The country folks, the country artists are so nice and so kind and so applauding of the music that we present and do and sing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I really don't know how to explain it any more than that. They applaud it. They love it. They love to be a part of it, especially if we get to do I'll ask them to come and sing on a record, and man, they're all over it.
Yeah.
I'm just so some of my dearest friends are country music artists.
Yeah.
Some of the most godly people that I've been around.
Yeah.
These country writers, you know, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
On our guest line today, Jason Crabb, and you're going to have a chance to see Jason at the Walhalla Performing Arts Center this Friday, May 23rd. Just go to walhallapac.com, walhallapac.com, and get your tickets today. I'm looking so forward to it. I'll be right there down front with you on Friday. You know, Jason, you've had a lot of great songs. As mentioned, won a lot of awards over the years. I'm sure you have favorites. I certainly have a favorite. I need to pause for a moment here and just share with you a personal story of mine. I've shared it with my listeners over the years. Many of them went through that period of time in 2021 when I had a couple of surgeries and just had some health issues. But as mentioned, my wife and I had seen you and your family at the time in the at the Brooklyn Tabernacle. And Through the Fire is just a song that got me through a very tough time. I played it over and over and just listened to the message there, because God will get you through the fire. I don't care how tough things get. He will get you through that. Is there a favorite song for you? And it has to be very special, Jason, to know that your music helps people like me get through those tough times.
I think that's what's important about heeding the call. You know, I had opportunities to do other things in life and other styles of music, some good opportunities, big contracts and stuff. And I just would tell them I just don't feel called to that.
Yeah.
I think this is who I am, and I feel called to singing this type of music that I do, and compelled to it. I'm so thankful that the Lord, has allowed me to do it. I think that's what's important, because when you know that and you feel it and you experience it, then you know the importance, especially when I hear like a testimony like yours and says that has helped you through a tough time, or maybe encouraged you. Man, that's what it's all about,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that other music don't do that. I'll be honest with you. There's times that, man, certain songs, will minister to me, and I'll be like, I didn't know where that came from. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It ministered to me, and that's the importance of music, in my opinion. But I think that when you're called to this, and when you realize that that it's bigger than just what you enjoy doing, or it's bigger than your occupation even.
Sure.
You put your whole heart into it, and how blessed I'm just so thankful and blessed, because not only this is what I do for a living. I put food on the table for my kids, and now I'm paying for a wedding for one of them through this music. But also, just like you said, we get to minister and to encourage. And man, I don't know how any more fulfilling that life can be more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yep. That is for sure. Jason Crabb, it's a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Again, you can get your tickets at walhallapac.com. If you just want to have a real blessing, then I hope you'll join us on Friday at the Walhalla Performing Arts Center. Jason, God bless you. Safe travels, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Oh, I can't wait to see everybody there. It's going to be a wonderful time. I've got some dear friends coming in, and get ready for a good time. It's going to be fun.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.